Whew. What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Let me say thank you. We're getting close. We're closing in on 1,000 subscribers on my cooking and tailgating with Joe Boo channel, and we're putting basically every week that we make our big subs and tailgating recipes, we're putting all that stuff on there, and slowly but surely I'm working some of my recipes that are lost deep in this channel on there as well. So no, some of y'all like, man, you look good, and man, did you lose weight? Yeah, well, that was like over the summer on some of those recipes, or a couple of years ago. You notice I got a lot more gray now than on those videos. So just trying to get that stuff all in one place and things. Somebody commented on there, do you do any more football videos? It's like, dude, this is cooking and tailgating. This is Joe Boo Sports Report. That's why they're different. And then, of course, I've got my Joe Boo's day job where we're renovating a 200-year-old house, as well as dealing with rental properties and stuff. So I appreciate all the supports on all the platforms from all of you guys. So we have some da-da-da. Actually, it's not. She didn't actually update me. I think she's on the phone with Michael right now anyway. So she's kind of busy with her man. But we have some interesting news. Taco Charlton, you guys remember that. One of the few first-round draft picks that the Cowboys made that haven't panned out in the last 15 years. Taco Charlton, who was with Kansas City for a while, was on the practice squad with New Orleans, has been picked up by the Bears off of their practice squad. So he's in another home. It's kind of interesting that he's never lived up to the hype that was him being drafted in the first round by the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, of course, I'll say this much. I feel like the Cowboys are at least making an effort to try and do some things. I can't guarantee that any of the things that they're doing of Tack McKinney, if he's going to make a difference, or if Callaway, the wide receiver, is going to make one, or Hankins. But one thing I can say at least is most of these guys are younger guys, and younger guys are more impressionable that you can turn into decent players. And we've seen the Cowboys take guys like Terrell Basham and Carlos Watkins and stuff, guys that were, you know, kind of afterthought type players, and turn them into productive ones that fit what they're doing. So, you know, I'm going to try and trust the process here. Now, a couple of things, and see, I'm Brother Roz. You know, I talk about Brother Roz a lot, and he's become really important and stuff, and I'm thankful for Stuart Morrison bringing him into the fold, so to speak. I wish Stuart was still here too, because I'd love to get Stuart's take on a lot of things right now. Some believe that this loss to the Packers will continue the slide for the Cowboys, that the Cowboys are getting a little bit nicked up. We know that we have Zeke Elliott now, who's got the hyperextended knee. And you can look at last year, Zeke Elliott having the PCL ended up kind of being a problem. You can see the problems that we're having at wide receiver, and maybe Dak Prescott isn't quite all the way there, being the guy, you know, that he's getting injured, and when he's getting injured and coming back, he's not the same guy that he once was, and he's getting older and so on. Now the defense has been exposed, and that they're giving up, you know, chunk yards on the ground, running the football, and that the Cowboys can go downhill. But you could say that about anybody. Now, you could look around and say, you know, the Washington Commanders that are 500 right now play the Texans. The Texans are close with everybody, but they've been the NFC East bitches so far. And if Washington gets a win, all of a sudden they're 6-5 and lurking in the shadows there. But the crazy thing about football is you just don't know. But here's what I'll say. I've said this many, many times for many, many years, although the NFL changing up the schedule by adding extra game kind of screws this whole philosophy up. But I like to look at the season in groups of 4, in quarters. And what you want to look at, or at least before when there were 16 games, is you want to make sure that you can get at least 10 wins. And the way I used to calculate was you need 2 of those groups. You need to win 3 games at least. If you do that in half of the season, that means you got 6. That means in the other 2 quarters, you can go 500, 2-2. That gets you to 10. Okay. Kind of an interesting philosophy. Now, we've got an extra game in there, so you want to win that one, so you want to say 11 games. All right, so far, going into the Green Bay Packer game, we had played 8 games. We were 6-2. So we had already gotten our 2 3-win quarters. Okay? There we go. So now we're starting off this quarter, 0-1. If we just win 2 of the next 3 games, that gets us to 8 wins with 4 games left to go. Or 5 games to go. That's not so bad. That's not so difficult. Now, if you go ahead, we've got the Giants, which that game is probably the most important one because you want to win in your division. You need to win because they're in front of you. You look at the Viking game, you want to win this one too because you don't want to start dropping back. But it would take us having, I just don't see us if we win 10 games. That if we go 500 the rest of the way, it would be hard for us not to make the playoffs. But I don't want to just make the playoffs. I want to get in the playoffs with some momentum. And the thing about being in the playoffs is we've been years where we've had home field advantage, where we've done great. We get that bye week and we come out flat like we did against the Green Bay Packers and we go home early. What it's about from here on in for the next 8 games is trying to make sure that come 9 weeks from now, that you are the best team that you have been all season, that you go into the playoffs with some momentum. That's what everything from right now has to be. And that's going to be where you're going to need to make some tough decisions in some places. You're going to have to start looking and saying, yeah, I need this guy on the field now, but maybe I need to put him off for a week because I really am going to need him come playoff time. And that's the kind of decisions that you look at now with Zeke Elliott. Tony Pollard is phenomenal. But you can't tell me, had we had Zeke Elliott in the 4th quarter, when Tony Pollard needed those blows, that you're not putting Zeke in there to just pound the ball and win us, basically will us to victory. And that's where you need both of those guys. That's where we need the offensive line to be together. They're strong. That's where we need to go ahead and have good play calling. That's what we need to figure out. Is it going to be James Washington? Is it going to be Callaway? Is it going to be Jalen Tolbert? Or is it going to be Odell Beckham? But everything from here on out has to point towards the end of the season. Or else this season will end the way all the rest of them have. So that's what I got for you guys. Now, an interesting thing here for the Eagles. The Eagles. Apparently, Jordan Davis is a game changer for the Eagles. Jordan Davis, they go from like 3.5 yards on the ground to like 5.2 yards on the ground given up. And now they're losing players also on the defensive line. They lost another one that went on injured reserve, and that's why they end up signing Lavelle Joseph. And Lavelle Joseph, he's got kind of long in the tooth. He's not as old as Jason Peters, but, you know, he's got some hard miles as well. They signed him to try and stop the run because the Eagles realized we got a problem there. And losing Dallas Goedert, these are little things that are going to start hurting for the Eagles. I can't remember who the Eagles play this weekend. It's a patsy, I'm sure. They got a nobody that they'll be playing. But it's the NFL. You're nicked up. And the NFL is about having parity. So we'll see. It'll be an interesting weekend. I think Washington, Eagles, and Giants all play at 1 o'clock. We play at 4 o'clock. So it's going to be an interesting Sunday. It's going to be cold here. I think the high temperature on Sunday is only going to be like 38 or 39 degrees. So we'll be inside. I hope it warms up some for Cowboys versus Washington. Oh, I tell you what, before I get out of here, tomorrow I will start posting in the community tab as well as other places about the game, the tailgate, if you're interested in being part of it. I've had some people that have already kind of sent me a little message here and there. I need to get everybody together and get the contact information for purchasing the tickets. I think the tickets are $199. We have a block of 100 tickets maximum, I think it is, for FedEx Field. And I think the way we're going to be doing it is I will give you the contact person to talk to. They will deal with the tickets to you directly. So that way I'm not sitting here the night before the game trying to send everybody their tickets and this, that, and the other and scared to death that I screw it up. But we're definitely going to have fun. And that game may actually be meaningful. And you know how we roll, guys. That's all I got for you. I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day. And I'm going to say to you guys, remember to tell the people you love them. Because you might not get the chance again. And I love you guys. And God willing, I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.